Welcome back. Yep, I'm back on the set. It's still kind of messy in here, but it's just probably as clean as it's gonna get. I'll just make sure this is in the background and we're fine. Something I wanted to talk about today because I do get questions from people who are starting up YouTube channels, newer YouTube channels, along the lines of, so what do I do? And I'm going to tie this into criticism that I see a lot. So I'll talk in videos about I saw in the comment section name item here. And people will always then leave a comment of don't read the comment section and why do you talk about the complaints in the comment section? But then why leave the comment if you don't want me to read it's it's chicken or egg thing, right? But there's a reason that I mention the comments in videos on the main channel, and I'll mention them on this channel as well. It drives conversation. So if I left a comment on a channel, and in the next video, the creator on that channel addressed something I said in the comments, I'm going to be like, that's really cool that he addressed or she addressed what I said. The trick is not to get personal, not to talk down to people, and to present your side. And the other side of it is something simple. So let's say there's 3 or 4 comments I noticed that are of the complaining variety, not necessarily about me, but something involving, on the main channel it's hockey, on this channel maybe something wrestling. And so I see that 3 or 4 comments and I think to myself, okay, so those people have spoken up. There's other people watching this video who have that same opinion, but aren't leaving a comment. I don't comment on videos very often when I'm on other channels. It does happen. I know that it throws people off when they see it. I often see the comments of, wait, THG on another, you watch this channel? Yep, there are various channels I watch. And I enjoy that. But again, if you see comments of mine on other channels, they're never complaining. They're very often complimentary of the video, of the topic, whatever it is, because I know that a lot of work goes into it, and I know that it can be a somewhat thankless job, not along the same lines as jobs I've had before. I've had really and truly thankless jobs. YouTube is not one of those. There are definitely a lot of thanks that I get, and that helps. But it is an interesting conversation where people will say, well, you need to just ignore the comment section. Channels that ignore the comment section, I think that's a terrible idea. You can ignore some, and you can shrug off some of the things that get said. But if somebody brings up a valid point, this is where my side of things has always been. If I say in a video, let me just look at this. Giles was my favorite character on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He wasn't, but let's just say that I say, you know what? Giles was my favorite character in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And somebody else comes out and says, my favorite was the Tick. I might say, the Tick wasn't on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But if they come out and they say, well, my favorite was Willow, well, I can have a discussion with them about it. And if they come out and they say, I didn't like Giles because, and they have a valid reason, well, I can talk about that. Right? And there can be a discussion to be had. It doesn't mean that that's trolling. So if I say my favorite color is blue and somebody goes, well, that's dumb, my favorite's red. All right, well, we can talk about it, although, everything's different. And once you get into the idea that I know what I look at is blue, and I can point at it and say it's blue, and if I point it out to you, you can go, yeah, that's blue, but what I see as blue and you see as blue could be different. So, just throwing that out there. Sometimes I get into the fact, too, I think about the fact that what we perceive colors as being isn't necessarily what the color of the item actually is. Once you go down that rabbit hole, yeah, it's a headache. But you're welcome. I think that the comment section is really important to a channel. And one thing that YouTube uses to decide on algorithms and everything is engagement. So this is why videos that have a lot of negative attention, a lot of downvotes, will still get a lot of promotion because they get a lot of negative downvotes, which means they probably get a lot of comments, which means they're probably getting a lot of traffic, And so this is why I've always told people when they say, oh, I can't stand this channel. Your best move if you don't like a channel is not to comment on the channel, not to watch the videos, and just not engage. Because that engagement tells YouTube, hey, coming back to Twitter, what people are finding out now with the algorithm on Twitter is that if you engage with people who have the opposite political affiliation to yourself, and you're just on there just getting mad and you're fighting with people, it's going to show you those accounts. It's going to show you accounts related to those accounts, because as far as the algorithm's concerned, this is what's causing you to stay on Twitter. This is what is causing you to react on Twitter. And so that's where you get further and further down the rabbit hole with that. So I think it's really important to make sure that as a channel grows, that the community feels like it's involved. There's videos I've done based on comments in the comment section, and not always negative either. And even if it is, I try to present my side of things as I see it. There's times where the person who left that comment on the other video will then watch my answer to their comment in video form and say, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I still don't agree, but we can agree to disagree. And that's important. And I think that's something that has been lost along the way with online conversations. So if somebody says, I think we should have higher municipal tax for this, and somebody answers with, well, you're an idiot. Well, that's not a good debate. But if somebody says, I think higher municipal tax is justifiable for this, and somebody answers with, I don't think it is because, and they have a reason, well, now you've got an actual conversation going. You've got an actual debate going. And I much prefer that. And so that's the kind of comment that I will try to answer. It's not the, this is stupid and this is wrong and I hate this. It's when I see somebody with an opinion that might be different than mine, and I can understand where they're coming from, but I may not agree, then I feel like it is perfectly reasonable that I answer. And part of it, too, is from a YouTube perspective. So I see the comments. I know where the comments are going. The next video I put up, if I'm talking about something that was brought up in the comment section, that video should perform pretty well, right? So again, coming back to the, if people notice that, I took their comment and actually made a video on it, I think they're more likely to tell a friend of theirs, hey, you should check this guy out, because I left a comment on his channel and he made a video answering what I said in the comment section. And I don't see how that would be a negative. If I was focusing just on trolling comments, then fine. And there are times where I will get into a debate in the comment section, and then somebody will jump in and go, I don't know why you do this. I don't know why you do this. Because if I feel like a person is reasonable in the debate, I will continue the debate. Now, if it devolves into personal insults and all that, well, then I'm out. And then it's like, all right, let's say I'm out. But I kind of have the same opinion on that as I did with friends of mine when I was of school age. So I would have debates with friends of mine, and as soon as it became, yeah, well, you're an idiot, and they would just try to change the subject, to be like, okay, so I guess I won that then, because you don't want to talk about it anymore. So I must have made a point that you aren't happy that I made. So that's kind of how I viewed it back then. I'm not the same with it now, but that was how I viewed it back then. But I was never scared of having that debate. I can still remember grade 8 and grade 9 having political discussions during gym class, because it's kind of what you do, especially when you're in an election cycle. And I mean, in Canada, our election cycles are short. They're like a month. You declare the election, and then about a month later, the vote is taken. But during those times, yeah, I would have those debates with friends of mine. Some of my friends, were like, well, I think Conservatives are right, I think the NDP's right, I think the Liberals are right. And I would be able to see all three sides of that. And then there might even be a fourth party that you can talk about. And it wasn't really a problem. It's not like people were losing friends over it, and it would just drag on for days and days and days. We would just say, I like this opinion, I like this position, while I disagree because, and then that was it. Conversation's done. I think the art of debating kind of is, I think the internet, with the anonymity we have online, I think it's made it easier to just devolve and just get into these flame wars and fights, and I don't generally do it. Even with the Twitter account I have now, which has less than 10 followers, I barely ever post with it. I don't flame people. I don't troll people. I do think that there will be a point where I post something on Twitter and somebody reads it and goes, "That's THG. That's THG," and there'll be some kind of a giveaway in how I express my opinion on something that somebody will say, "Yeah, that's him. That's him, clearly," and then the jig is probably up at that point. But um, it, it is one of those interesting things when it comes to being a YouTuber, that the comment section, there are YouTubers that do ignore it, but I don't know that there's that many. One of the main YouTube personalities that I follow would be Simon Miller on What Culture Wrestling. And he always talks about the comment section. Always. He talks about Twitter all the time. And he talks all the time about all the complaining and calls them the negative Nancy's. And he actually has read out some of the horrible troll comments left for him on the channel, which I've never done. I've had people saying, well, you should. Nope. Because that, to me, that encourages the troll behavior. Because then it's like, hey, we got him to read this. What else can we get him to read? But yeah, I don't think that reading the comment section is a terrible idea, and I don't think answering the comment section is a terrible idea either. I did a video today on the longest overtime games ever. Why? Because I saw people complaining about a long overtime game last night in the NHL, and I was like, I love long overtime games. I understand where they're coming from, but I want to talk about why long overtime games I think are good. And I think it's really that these big epic games, they're cultural moments. I think back to the World Cup and some of the best World Cup games I've watched. I'm talking World Cup of soccer, not hockey. And some of the best World Cup games I've watched have gone to overtime. And there's just this tension in the air as you're getting into that second half of the overtime. They're going to go to penalties, and there's this whole tension that takes over, and it's great, and you can remember that. Now, the blowouts, you can remember as well. Germany destroyed Brazil in that one game. That's kind of hard to forget. But that was a couple of World Cups ago. But that's the thing. The big moments in sports can be that walk-off home run. How many times have we seen the Kirk Gibson walk-off home run? No, 17,000 times is too few. Go higher. It's a lot. And it's because it's this big moment. For Jays fans, Joe Carter, right? Big Joe Carter home run. And it is what everybody remembers from those early 90s Jays. That's one of those cultural moments. And so when I see somebody going, long overtimes are pointless and they should just, no, they should discourage it. My answer to that is I should say something in a video, because I think those are really big moments for me as a sports fan. And so there you go. I did the video on that. The video's doing all right. And I think it's topical anyways, because last night was one of the longer games in NHL history. So it makes some sense to do the video there. But anyways, I just wanted to make a video here for all you fine people following this channel. Over 25,300 now. Absolutely crazy numbers on this channel. Thank you guys so much. Makes an old man feel younger. These don't, but I mean, hey, at least something fun in the background, right? Like Davros right there, right here. Davros. I have all the Davros episodes of Doctor Who. I wouldn't mind if they brought him back, actually, with Russell T Davies now in charge. That should be kind of fun. But we'll see what they do. All right, and I do look forward to when the Russell T Davies 60th anniversary specials start airing and being able to do recaps and reviews of Doctor Who episodes. That's going to be awesome. I have been so anxious to get really good Doctor Who stuff, and now it's coming. So I'm excited. And I'm really looking forward to being able to stand in front of a camera and say, and tonight I watched Doctor Who, and it was great. I have not been able to say that in a long, long, long time. Peter Capaldi's last season on the show, there wasn't really anything there that I thought was great. The season before that, there were some really good episodes, I thought. The episode right after Clara dies, I thought was fantastic. It's just Peter Capaldi. It's absolutely amazing. and it's one of those time loop things, and it was just, man, mind-blowing. But maybe we're getting back to that with Russell T Davies. I hope so. Fingers crossed. All right. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're just browsing around the internet, especially if you're like, I didn't know he had another channel. I certainly do. Peruse the channel while you're here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yes, I do read comments. So thank you guys for paying attention. All right. Again, thanks for your support. It means a lot. I will talk to you again soon.